I'm joined now by ACLJ Chief Counsel Jay Sekulow. We are looking at the fights we have ahead, and you know more than anyone that just because there's a friendly administration in the White House sometimes means that the fights become harder as you fight more localized fights with states, with cities that are almost lashing out at the change in the administration and the way that the country is run. How great of a threat do you see both the deep state as well as just governments on a smaller scale or bureaucrats that want to push back and fight against the freedoms that we celebrate and fight to protect here at the ACLJ?
So sometimes, and this has been true over many years, you'll see that even with an administration that would be more friendly, obviously in this situation, with President Trump, incoming President Trump, but the fact is that the bureaucrats are entrenched. And if you look at some of our biggest fights, we were in the middle of them. And I remember when it went from President Obama to President Trump, we had the IRS targeting cases. And ultimately, it took a while for the new administration, for everybody to catch up to speed. But we were able to get that case resolved successfully for our client because we utilized the benefit of having lawyers that were taking a fresh look at this now within the government who acknowledged the wrongdoing of the Internal Revenue Service. Well, I think about right now, I think about the whistleblowers that we have. And we've been very aggressive in court and fighting back very aggressively. But the fact is now, we can now use other processes internally within the FBI, now that we're going to have a new FBI director and a new attorney general in Pam Bondi, to get justice for clients that have been wrong. I think of Gerald Boy. I think of a whole group of them. So there's going to be those. But rest assured also, there will be new cases and new issues. I think you're going to see a lot of congressional fights. So our government affairs office is going to be very, very busy. But we also have a great opportunity to reshape the law in a positive direction that literally brings equal justice under the law to everyone. I want to take a moment here on behalf of the Sekulow family, but also on behalf of the American Center for Law and Justice and all of our teams on radio, on government affairs, our lawyers, people that work in the social media, to say a huge thank you to our donors who are supporting our ongoing work at the ACLJ. Your donations right now mean a lot because this is literally it. The last 5 days here are the biggest 5 days of our year for the ACLJ. So I would encourage you, if you've donated, thank you. If you haven't yet, I encourage you to do so at aclj.org because the impact will be great. We're expanding. We have a lot of new opportunities ahead. And I'm excited about what's coming, but we've got to be realistic that these are going to be a lot of fights. And you're right, Will, a lot of these will end up on the local level.
And you look at where we were at this point last year when we were preparing to fight at the Supreme Court over the 14th Amendment. And it's just a vast difference of where we were just 12 months ago to where we are today. But that it took that fight of the ACLJ standing with the Colorado Republican Party and also the Trump team fighting for ballot access there as well to even get where we are today. And that's happened this year.
Oh, I mean, the 14th Amendment case was huge on a whole host of levels. And that was, of course, the idea that you would remove a duly qualified candidate from running for president, which is what the Colorado Secretary of State was trying to do, to win it at the Supreme Court and then ultimately win it overwhelmingly. Everyone recognizing that you can't do what Colorado tried to do. Then you had the immunity case, which we were heavily involved in because as someone who has represented the president while he served as president, I know what the demands are like. And the idea that you lose immunity would be ridiculous. No president would be free to make a decision that they need to make in protecting the country because there's already enough lawyers involved. Let me just put it that way. You don't need a dozen more. But that's the truth. So listen, we had a great run at the Supreme Court this year. There's no doubt about it. But as I said, without the support of ACLJ donors and members around the country, none of this happens. No daily radio broadcasts, no broadcasts on YouTube and Rumble and Facebook and X. None of that happens without the support of the people that are listening to this broadcast or watching this broadcast right now. And we encourage you to support the work of the ACLJ. Look, I mean, we're at a strategic time, and you want to take it. In the last administration, Obviously, we were fighting the administration a lot. That doesn't necessarily change in the sense of some of the ongoing cases may continue, and certainly in the beginning until the new Justice Department's in place. But we do have great opportunities to get justice, and that's what we're going to focus on.
That's right, and that's why we are here broadcasting December 26th to let you know what the fight ahead looks like and also how you can join the ACLJ and take part in this triple match here, these final days of our Faith and Freedom year-end drive. But we also have had many cases that aren't the headline-gripping cases that you see, like the 14th Amendment and things of that nature. But even the ACLJ work continues down where we protect individuals that can't pray at a track meet before a track meet because their coach violates their rights, or the student that we finally, after years of fighting in Nevada, was forced to read that monologue, and we got victory against that school district for that family as well. These victories are very important as well.
Oh, listen, that's how we started as an organization, was representing individuals, and that's mostly what we do. People that could not afford lawyers that represent a president, but because of the generosity of our donors, they can be lawyers that have that kind of skill set. Let me take it a step further, Will. On you mentioned the school case, and that was a tough case. We had to really fight to get justice in that case for the student and her mother. Let me tell you, there are other ones. We've got a case coming that's out of Florida on a prayer meeting that was held, a prayer vigil actually, for a community that was challenged by an atheist group, and we're fighting that out now at the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals and at the District Court, and ultimately go to the Supreme Court of the United States. We have a case that's at the Supreme Court right now on pro-life sidewalk counselors. So there is, whether it's at the school board level or the Supreme Court of the United States or the International Criminal Court, which has now officially indicted the sitting Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu. The ACLJ heavily involved in that defense as well. So that's our global offices. Logan has been over in our office overseas and has been visiting there and talked to our executive director, the head of the programming there, and they're doing great work. So there's a lot of activity that goes on, like you said, Will, that you can't report every day because there's so much of it. But that's what we do every single day at the ACLJ.
And make sure you go to aclj.org/faith and freedom to have your donation tripled. Here, through the end of the year, donations will be tripled. You're hearing about the important fights that we fight every day at the ACLJ. And as we try to navigate and predict what those fights ahead will be, that's where you come in. When you donate, it helps us budget out for the year. It helps us know what areas we can go, how aggressively we can fight, and we fight aggressively at the ACLJ.